Hi there, I'm Mark at IronWorks Brewing, and today we're brewing the Superdelic Sunrise version 2, and I have an apprentice with me today, my mate Craig. Craig,
Hello.
I know you've done homebrew in the past, but you've just got back into it recently.
I have, yes,
What
inspired by Mark, so yeah, just doing the basic kit at the minute. I've done a India Pale Ale and a Red India Pale Ale, and I've got a Mango Jacks on the go. So
fantastic,
yeah, and hoping to learn a bit today from Mark.
So we're doing an all grain kit today, and it's Craig's first venture into that. So we'll get cracking. We've got the strike water up to temperature. You can probably hear that in the background. We'll be getting the sparge water set up, but I'll be taking Craig through the different steps, what ingredients we've got. So follow along. Okay, so we're going to start to add our fermentables. We've got 4 kilos of craft pale ale malt going in. We've got 456 grams of flaked malted oats, and we've got 228 grams of Carapils. As malt pipe's gone in, and now we're going to start to add some grains. So I'm going to hand over to Craig, and he can be the master paddler.
All right,
so big paddle. Now the purpose of this is we'll start to add the grains in. Whoops. Start to add the grains in, but what we want to do is probably add half of this bag to start with, and then it's to start to give it a stir, get to the bottom, and what you're looking for is you don't want clumps. Because if you get clumps, you've got dry spots, and that means you're not getting all the maximum sugars and fermentables out. So just tip this in. A strike water's at 70 degrees Celsius. All right, Craig, you'll start to
bit of a stir.
Give that a stir.
We'll go anti-clockwise.
And make sure you get right down to the bottom as well. And then while Craig's doing that, we've also got the flaked oats and the Carapils in here all weighed out. Ready? And what you're getting from a smell from that already? Orlics.
Oh yes, foaming up nicely as well. All right.
Cool, yeah, let's add some more.
Excellent.
I'll add all of them. Start mixing that, and we can get ready with the next batch.
Got all the way this time.
Okay, while you're mixing that one out, whip me off here. Yeah, so as I say, what we're looking for there is start to agitate it. As you can see, there's like dough balls just there. Called, we call them dough balls, but it's basically just clumps. That's definitely what you don't want, because you're not getting the maximum potential sugars out there. So get some welly.
Get a bit of welly. All right,
a bit of welly.
You need to really mix it, do it. Oh yeah, that's it.
You can feel it starting to thicken a little bit as well.
Yeah, bit of resistance.
Right, Craig, let's introduce this next lot. So we've got our Carapils and our flake malt, and we've also got a few rice hulls in there as well. So we'll add those in. Keep mixing, kiddo. Go for it. Really work it in now. There we go. This bit's where Craig thought he was just coming to watch. How to do it, lads.
I'm going to work out.
Yeah, there was a cunning plan on my part on this one.
This is it, you see. Oh yeah.
He's even getting into motion. Look, legs are going.
Legs are going. Perfect.
That's looking pretty good, isn't it?
Yeah. Excellent.
So while you're doing that, I'll just put you back on the tripod.
Both ways.
Yeah, just like I said, just making sure that you've got no clumps.
Yeah.
Again, right down to the bottom. Okay, that's looking fantastic.
Perfect.
So we put it in at 70 degrees. That gives you that difference, so that when you add effectively the cold grains in there, it'll drop the temperature. If you look at the temperature gauge on now, we're at 68.9, 68.8, 68.7, so it's dropping. We are going to mash this one at slightly, normally 65, 66, 67, 68 degrees, and that depends on sort of the style and type of the beer. This particular one, we're going to mash it at 68 degrees. So we'll just make sure these change. So that's at 67.9. Once that kicks in,
drop
that in your bucket now. Yeah, that's we're pretty much done with that.
Clean up.
We can clean it later. So what's going to happen? I'll just take it off here. We've got 67.9. We want it at 68, and then we're on for 60 minutes. So essentially, what we've got is a 60-minute mash, and at that point, we'll then start to get the sparge water on, and we're sparging at 67 degrees. And sparging is basically just rinsing. Just rinsing the grains. Once they've gone through the mash, we'll lift those out, and we'll be good to go. So the next bit, now that's in there, is we're going to add the water chemicals. Or the salt additions, and I've already weighed those out. So these are weighed out, ready. So this is where it looks a bit like a meth lab. We've got gypsum, we've got calcium chloride, and we've got Epsom salts. They've been weighed out. They'll be on the recipe. I'll put that in the description so that you can see that. But they're weighed out ready. We're going to add those into our water, and we've also got 4 millilitres of lactic acid, and that'll bring the pH down. And in a second I'll explain about pH, because that's a good guide. Great stuff, Get a tap on the side, great stuff.
Let's scrape that one out.
Yeah, just tap it, so it should come off. That's super.
Sound.
And then I'll just squirt the full.
Right.
That's the 4 mils of lactic acid. We'll give it a stir to combine all of that lot, and then we'll start with a 60-degree mash. Lift this one off for you.
Oh yes, you see it thickening up almost as well.
It's going more like a porridgey type consistency.
Need some mussels.
Super. So we'll just put this on. This helps to just keep the grains. Once you start to circulate the water, it stops all the grains floating to the top and all that kind of stuff. So what we'll do is just take that off there, put that on, and then press it down onto the grain bed. We can push that down a little bit further, and in a second we'll start to recirculate this. Using the recirc pump, and that allows it then, if there's any blockage at the bottom, it allows it to come up and then overspill down that tube, and that tube goes past all of the grain filters and that kind of stuff. So the little stopper's now done with.
Sound.
We can add that on in readiness, just to give it a test. So that's now recircling right from the bottom, pulling it all the way through, and effectively starting to run the water, the salts, the lactic acid all the way through. We'll leave that for about 10 minutes, and then we'll do a pH check. Cool. Okie dokie.
Recircling nicely.
So one thing I always have a reminder on my wall, pH 5.2 to 5.6. That's the sweet spot for beer, and that's the pH of the malt liquor, the water that's in there. So 5.2, 5.6. 5.2 you would tend to work on where you've got hoppy beers. So more fruity flavour, aromas, that kind of stuff. And then if you're wanting to get more towards your bitters and your stouts and that kind of stuff, you would be looking at more towards the 5.6, and you adjust the water profile by the salts that you add, the grains that are being added, but then you can adjust it up and down with your lactic acid to actually get the preferred pH.
Sound.
So we've finished our 60-minute mash. We've raised the temperature up to 75 degrees for 15 minutes, and we're now getting ready to sparge. So this is where Craig gets his hands mucky again.
Yep.
And what we need to do, Craig, here is we've got this lifting arm.
Yep.
That goes in to those 2 holes. So if you do
Yep.
that,
Connect that in for you.
and then start to lift the grain bed out. And then when you get so far, if you look over here, you can start to hear it draining.
Yeah, yeah.
You'll be able to see some lugs. So
Yeah.
keep lifting, keep lifting, keep lifting.
Oh, yeah.
And then
Twist
turn it again, and then keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. And then there's another set of lugs at the end.
Yep.
And then twist them so that they
Alright.
rest on there.
Excellent.
Okay, that's brilliant.
Yep.
Take the lever out.
Perfect.
So that's starting to drain. We've got a good drain on there.
Yep.
And now what we need to do is need to set the sparge arm up.
Yep.
Okay, so that's a sparge arm set up, ready. And we've got our sparge water set up at 76 degrees. It's hovering, throttling backwards and forwards there. So if you want to just crank this little handle, and we'll throttle that through. Watch that, because it'll get hot. There we go.
Perfect.
Yeah. And just down a little bit, so there's not as much coming through. You don't need to be too fast.
Yeah. Rinse it all through.
And then we're just effectively just giving it a nice rinse. And the purpose behind that is just making sure that we don't leave any fermentable sugars in there. That should take about 10 minutes until that's emptied.
Yeah.
And that's, I think there was 12 litres, just under 12 litres of sparge water in there.
Oh, smell that.
Yeah, and the smell of the grains. So whilst that's doing that, we'll measure out our first set of hops, and I will start to ramp up the temperature. So whilst this is now draining through into the bottom, I'll ramp the temperature up so that's getting ready to boil.
Yep.
Okay, so we've got whilst the sparge is running through, we've set the temperature for the boiler. That's now going up to 100, so that'll be ramping up now nicely. And we'll be getting ready for our hops. So we'll pop over to this side. So Craig, in that little tub,
Yep.
we've got the Superdelic hops, and I think from memory, so we'll come down to this side, at the 60-minute boil, we need 12 grams.
Right. Okie dokie.
Get your nose in there, get a sniff.
Oh yes. That's the good stuff. Is that turned on? What were we, 212?
Oh, just tip them. See, see,
yeah.
there you go. Bang. That's close enough.
Right?
Yeah, that's close enough. So that's our first 12, and then in a second, or in probably half an hour, we'll also weigh out another 35 grams.
Yep.
And that'll go in once the boil's completed, and it'll go in and do what's called the whirlpool.
Yep.
And then we've got 30 minutes to basically just rotating the water around, and that gets all the oils out of the hops as well.
Yeah.
So that's not adding any bitterness. All that's adding is flavour.
Yeah.
This first set of hops, these 12 grams, are adding the bitterness level.
Yeah.
And because we don't want it too bitter, because it's a blonde ale, we're only adding 12 grams. So the bitterness units on this beer are 21 IBUs, which is quite low, but in acceptable tolerances. And then when we add the 35 grams in the whirlpool, that'll just add the aroma and flavours from the hops as well.
Yeah.
And then you boost all of that up by adding it into the fermenter, by dry hopping, and that's really what boosts up all the aromas.
Right. Perfect.
Okay. So our sparge is finished, our water's completely emptied, and we're at 73 degrees. So we'll come back to you when we're ready to pop the bittering hops in. Right, okay, so we're just coming up to a rolling boil. Try and get out of the steam, but that's looking mighty fine. We're just shy of the pre-boil volume. We should have got 30.8, and we were looking at 29 litres. So we're going to leave it at that. We're not going to top up. But Craig, it's time to add the 60-minute hops, the 12 grams.
Here we go.
Absolutely brilliant.
Perfect.
So we've got 60-minute hops. That gives us 21 IBUs. and then we'll be doing a full 60-minute boil and then a 30-minute whirlpool at 80 degrees. So we'll be getting the cooling coil in and doing all the other stuff in terms of Protofloc and everything else 20 minutes, 10, 15, 20 minutes before the end of the boil. That'll sterilise the cooling coil, but mean that we can get down to 80 degrees, and then we'll add in the 35 grams for the aroma. Okay, so Craig's just having a taste of the wort.
Smells really good.
Sweet, syrupy.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Good stuff. And
good sign.
as always, it's pity you're not on smelly vision, because when you lift that and you get the aromas, even just steamed out there, you get the aromas just from the 12 grams for the bitter and hops. Absolutely amazing. Starting to build up the complexity of the aromas and flavours. Right, okay.
Happy days.
Happy days indeed. Right, okay, so we've taken a sample pre-boil gravity. I'm going to hand this over to Craig just to... He's got better eyes than I've got.
Yep, I need big glasses.
Typical. Let me hold that then while you put them on. And there's me thinking. Younger eyes.
Yeah.
So what do we reckon off there?
Let's have a look. Yeah, they always fall up wrong way around these, don't they?
Tell you what, let's put it on the bench.
Let's have a look. I think it's bang on 40.
Stick it on the bench and let's have a look.
Yeah.
Let's do the old spin trick.
Get the bubbles off.
See whether that does out. So I think it's just under, so I would think, looking at that, where the top of the 4 is, it's probably just at that line, so 1038.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
And we were expecting 1037 for pre-boil gravity, so that's pretty damn close. Yep. So I'm good with that.
That's
it. And we've got the cooling coil in readiness, and that's boiling nicely. We've got 20 minutes to go, so another 10 minutes and we'll add Protofloc and all the other bits and bobs, and then we'll be ready to drop the temperature to 80 degrees, and then we'll be whirlpooling with the 35 grams of the next batch of Superdelic. Okay, so we've dropped the temperature to 80 degrees, and we're now going to whirlpool. We're going to add the next 35 grams. So Craig, if you want to set the 35 grams of Superdelic up and get them dropped in, and then we'll be whirlpooling for 30 minutes. There's always that one last bond that drops in that's like 14 grams. Of a smack on, look at that.
On the dot.
35, let's have a look. We get the evidence. Yeah, 35 grams, bang on, perfect. So those hops can go back in the fridge. These can drop straight in.
Yeah.
Let's get them in.
A good sprinkle across.
That's superb. I'll tell you what, let's whip that off. Being as I've got only one hand free, see the whirlpool arm, that one?
Yep.
If you connect it into there.
Oh, yeah.
You need to go to the edge.
So in there, all right.
Yeah. Push down so they'll lock it on. That's brilliant.
Sound.
And we can
recirculate.
Recirculate. And start to whirlpool. Let's turn it in a little bit. So it's creating a whirlpool effect. And what that's supposed to do is, one, extract as much of the hop oils out, which is what's going to give it the aroma, depth of aroma, but also collects any of the sort of hop detritus and other crap, and it brings it into the middle, so then when we're trying to then draw it off, we don't get any other blockages. But that's looking pretty good so far. And whilst it's doing that, we can get the fermenter set up and ready. We've cleaned it down. We've used VWP. It's been on the bucket blaster with a rotating ball arm, and we'll get that set up in readiness. The yeast we're using is Verdant IPA yeast. Again, like I said, I'll put everything down in the description below, so you've got the full recipe. So if you want to have a bash at this yourself, you've got all the information there. and then once the Whirlpool's finished, we'll cool this down and we'll transfer it into the fermenter. And then we might do a bit of a sum up session, and we've already got a couple of beers on in celebration and sampling the wares from last time, so we'll see you in a bit. Okay, right, so we've done the cool and we're about ready to transfer into the fermenter. I'll just whiz you around and show you that. So that's what we've got cooled down. We've got the fermenter cleaned, sanitised and ready to go. So the transfer pipe's in. Craig, do you want to just do a quick original gravity?
That's it.
What do we reckon we've got?
So we reckon we've got about 1042, don't we?
1042, and what did it reckon we needed? Or expected?
1040, weren't it?
1040, 1041, what does it say? I can't remember now.
Let's have a look.
There we go. 1041, so
1041,
1042.
Yeah.
Spot on, that's good enough for me.
Yeah.
Righto, so we'll start the transfer, and then you want to cut the yeast open. We're using Verdant IPA yeast, and we can pitch that whilst we're transferring over. So we'll let a couple of litres in.
Oh, so that's going in there, yeah.
Yep. That's nicely agitating and aerating at the same time, which is great. So temperature is 21.3 degrees. So I'm more than happy for you. You want to start pitching in, mate? Yeah, go for it.
There we go.
Cool, we'll have 2 of them in.
I've got another one.
We've also got the wrapped pill that's been in Chemsan, cleaned and sterilised, and then Chemsan. That's ready to go as well. Just in terms of post-boil volume, we had a litre less than we expected, but we started with a litre less anyway, so no surprises. So we'll just let that fill up a little, and we'll drop the pill in. Then we'll start the app. Cool.
Super.
Okay, so pretty successful brew day today.
Yeah.
We're just about to put the cover on, and I'll just take you over here. We've got slightly under in terms of how much beer we've got. We've got about 21 litres, more than enough anyway, no problem. We've got everything set up. It's set at just over 10 psi. We've got the hop bong gate butterfly valve set up in readiness for adding the hops. We've got a 3-day hop addition, and we've also got a 10-day hop addition. So we'll be getting the cover on. The cover also not only helps in terms of keeping in the warmth and the heat and all that kind of stuff, but also, as you can see, stops the sunlight and light getting in. So we'll be setting that up in a second, and we'll come back to you. Final gravity ended up at 1042. Yeah, from memory. And we'll do a quick summary in terms of, well, Craig, what did you think of it? But we'll come back to that in a second.
Brilliant.
Okay, so that's the end of another brew day. We've done Superdelic Sunrise version 2. I'm sure Craig will be interested to see what it tastes like, and we'll be certainly doing a bit of a sampler and bottling a few up as well in the future. So thoughts on all grain brewing? Is something you might want to get into?
Very interesting, yeah. Who would have thought it? But yeah, really good. Seeing it from the grain to the liquid.
Yeah.
Perfect.
And nicely tucked up in the fermenter. We're currently at 17.9.
And some amazing kit. It's brilliant, but seeing it is better than sort of looking at it on the internet. So, you know, you sort of see it physically. It's really good.
Great stuff.
Some good technology.
So look forward to seeing you brewing your first all grain brew at some point in the near future.
Definitely.
All the best. So I know we've been sampling a couple of the others off the kegerator.
Yeah.
And hopefully you're enjoying them as well.
They are. They're very nice.
Very nice. Perfect. Good stuff. That's what we like to hear. So if you like this kind of stuff, please do like and subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next one. Cheers, everybody.
Cheers, everyone. Cheers. Nice.
Nice. Yeah.
As they say in Yorkshire.
Absolutely.
Nice.
Proper ready. Nice.
Are we
Cheers
still
all.
on?
Yeah, we're still on. Cheers
All
all.
right.
See you soon. Cheers, guys. Bye.